welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some ideas of how you can make geography fun in your homeschool. So if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe. Let's get into it. All right, so this video is an open collaboration video with Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way. So I'll put a playlist down in the description box that will have a list of a whole bunch of other homeschool moms here on YouTube sharing how they like to make geography fun in their homeschool, which can be so very helpful to have different insights of what people have used, especially if you don't want to spend tons of money. You can see what they've liked and what they haven't liked. So make sure you check out that playlist. And we're gonna start talking about how to make geography more fun or just fun in general in your homeschool. All right, I wanna start out by saying how we do geography right now in our homeschool, and then I'll give you some suggestions of ways you might be able to change it up. I'm not perfect at any of these things. I haven't found one thing that works well all the time or one thing that we just love. These are just a few ways, things that we've tried or that we've switched it up with that maybe will work for you as well, or you might be interested in trying. So currently we are doing US geography. We have been doing it for the last year because it takes a really long time to get through all 50 states. And we are doing the not grass curriculum, which I am kind of in the middle about it. You know, it's not bad, it's not good. Like, it's just totally, like, it works. There's readers that go with it. And that's fun to add a different type of element to it, or a history element if you want. And so that's what we've been doing, and we're about halfway through the state, so we'll finish them this next year. And I haven't done US geography every single year. I sometimes just come back to it. We have attempted world geography, I think, once before. It's just so massive that it's a little bit overwhelming. And so we've done geography here and there and switched it out with a more like intense history curriculum or something. So right now we are doing geography, and we just do it twice a week. So Tuesdays, we switched this at the end of our last school year, and we're still doing it right now. But on Tuesdays, we do all of our book work. So we go through all the not grass stuff. We go through our activity books for not grass and do all that kind of stuff with my kids. And then Thursdays, since it just seemed to be too much, like reading all the things instead of doing something more engaging, on Thursdays we usually will play a game of some sort. And so I'll show you some games a little bit later in this video, but we've tried to incorporate a little bit more like geography game schooling in, and I feel like that works better. And it's nice for me too, because it's a little bit of a break. It's a break from my voice. It's a break, like, just when I'm sorting out curriculum, I'm like, oh, it's Thursday, we get to just play a game, and that's so nice. And my kids look forward to it. So it has worked well so far, and there's little things that might change here and there, but for the most part, it's gone pretty well. So that's currently how we are doing geography. So the things that I'm gonna share with you, you could model the same format if you want, you know, copy it and do the same thing. You could do something totally different, but you could substitute any of these ideas in at any given point if you need to change something up, or if you just want to have variety, you can totally do that. So now we're gonna share the ideas with you because I figure that's probably the most helpful. Okay, my first suggestion is to incorporate some sort of game schooling, like I just said that we've been trying to do. Either game schooling or puzzles, you know, something a little different. And there's lots of different games and puzzles out there. I'm not gonna show you all the games we have for geography. We have some that are just specific to US geography. We have some that's more world geography, but I'll try to link a lot of them that we have down below. So if you want to check out some of those, and I probably have had videos in the past, if I remember to go back through them. If not, you could search for them, that I've talked a little bit more about some of the other games, because I think I have a game schooling geography video specifically. It's several years old, but that would have more of the games that we've used. But I'm just gonna show you some of the ones that we are currently using the most and like that are new. And I did just mention two of these in my favorites video that would have come out right before this video. But the first ones are these, I can't remember what company these are even from, but I got them off of Amazon. They're from the same company. This is just world geography, and this is United States geography. And I explained a little bit in that my favorites video how it all works, but you have, you know, the game board, you get these cards, like everyone gets their own cards that are certain colors that match the colors here. So you're trying to be the first one to finish, you know, gather all the states on your particular cards. But each of these state cards have different information. And so everyone, each round takes a new card, and then they can, whoever's turn it is, can decide if they want to use information from here and say like, oh, area, let's look at area. And whoever has the largest area, they win. And then if any of these cards match their state cards, they can put them down. There's also in this one a dice, and so you can roll it, and it's for, a challenge question. I'm like, what is it even called? So you could do a challenge question, which is like state capital, like the postal abbreviation for this state, the nickname. Okay, there's several different things because it's a 6-sided die. And so there's several different things you could do with that. So the world one is very, very similar, except it's just bigger because the world's big. And so obviously it has this huge map, and it doesn't have the individual cards where you're matching up states, just again, because the world is so big. But it has similar ideas that go along with it. You can still do challenges just with the cards. You can do challenge questions with like a country, the capitals, stuff like that, a province and its capital. So my kids have been liking to play those. I feel like they're a really good balance too between like having a game, but it's a very good learning type game. And then another one that's a really good learning type game is this one. It's a trivia challenge. We have the science version as well. I've mentioned before that we really like these. So this one's geography, and it has 3 different categories. So name it, know it, rank it. And there's beginner cards, and then you could flip them to advanced. So I like how it's adaptable as your kids learn and grow. You can make it harder for them and learn new facts. So some of them might just be looking at a picture of something and being like, what is this? Or some of them might be ranking things in certain orders, maybe which state or country or whatever is biggest versus which one is smallest. So there's lots of different ideas. This one incorporates a little bit of science because it is talking some about like land formations. I think it might even talk about volcanoes a little bit. I can't remember. There is a little bit of overlap between this one and the science one, but my kids also like this one. So ones that are still good learning ones, but maybe not as much. You know, they don't contain facts and things, more just becoming familiar with a map, is Ticket to Ride. Those are another ones my kids have really liked, and there's the junior version, or First Ride, I think is what it's called, or something. Ticket to Ride, First Ride, I don't know. First Journey, maybe that's it. And then the more advanced ones, and you can get those ones that cover different parts of the world as well. So that one's more you're becoming familiar with the map and maybe the state capitals, but it doesn't have all the teeny little details that you might get with some of these kind of games. So those are a few I just wanted to mention. I'll try to list more down below. Something else that's helpful, like I said, there's puzzle type things. So these are a few options. Again, there's so many options. We've gotten several like books over the years that go through each state, and then they also come with a puzzle that's part of the book. And those mostly are just when we found them. Some of them are at just bookstores. A lot of them, when I've tried to link them or find them before, I haven't been able to because they were just kind of random. We kind of stumbled upon them. But this one is from Amazon, and I really like this one. We have used it before when we've done like geography bingo, because then as we go through and I say the capitals or whatever, I can also mark them on the map so my kids get like a visual idea of where they are, and it might help them eventually remember all the capitals. I'm not sure. We'll see. But this is a like foam map. So you could take all the pieces out and they could put them all back together. And then you can also, there's flags in here to match the capitals with them. So that's another fun way to do it. Another puzzle we've liked is this one from Learning Resources. So it's magnetic, which is really fun. You can put it, like we have a huge whiteboard over here. You can put it up there. You can put it on the refrigerator, you know, whatever else you have that might be magnetic. You don't even have to, you know, it doesn't have to be magnetic. You can just put it on the table. And then there is this map here. So you can put it together without the map, or this one has the capitals, so that could be helpful in learning what states go with what capitals and things like that. You could think of fun games to play with them. So there's some options that way to add some variety, or just to give to your kids, like if you had puzzles give them to practice. Like one day maybe you have other things to do, you want them to be able to practice states and capitals, be like, here's the puzzles, you know, start practicing and learning these things. And so you could do that as well. That could be a good option if you're kind of busy or just want to change it a little bit. The next way to make geography more fun, or just fun to begin with, is maybe to add some sort of activities or crafts or food. You know, all those, they all kind of go under activities, right? Doing foods or crafts or things that relate to that state or that country. And I think it would be fun. We haven't ever done this before, but I think it would be fun to take like a state or country per month, just because the rate we do it right now, usually one state a week, is still like, you just can't cover all the things. If you want to really do an in-depth study and talk about it and try some of the food and do some of the activities maybe they do there or things like that, or build something, you know, maybe they have an iconic building and you could use art supplies and build that building, like with those brick blocks. Those are really fun, those styrofoam, they're not really styrofoam, but they feel like styrofoam blocks. So there's lots of things that you could do. You could even build stuff with Legos or Play-Doh, you know, to show some of the building or architecture from that state or country. So there's a lot of things you could do, which I think is so hard to, with all the other homeschool things, to cram into 1 week. And since geography just covers so much, it's really hard. So I feel like maybe next time we go through geography, we might do it more like that, and it'll take a really long time, but it'd just be a more like expansive learning experience because we'd spend more time learning about each place. And so that's something you could do. Making food is always fun. Kids enjoy that, you know, especially if it's like a dessert or something from that place. And so going through and just kind of figuring out some of those fun activities from each of those states would be really great for kids. Another way to make history at least different, this can be fun and it can also be boring. Depending how you do it and how much you like history. It is to incorporate history into your geography. And sometimes this can be super fun and sometimes it can just make geography even longer. So again, it depends how you do it. It depends how much you like history as well and how much time you have to spend on it. If you're just going through and like, oh, I'm just trying to get through all the curriculum and read through all the things, then that can be really boring. But if you spent some time talking about the different history things, historical things that happen someplace, even if you could go visit them, I think that would be really cool. Like either the things where you live specifically, or if you could go someplace else, you know, if you're traveling for homeschool a lot, and visit the places, that would be really cool, and to see all the historical places, historical sites in that place. So there's a lot of cool things you could do that way. We have not specifically studied history with geography in a while. It's been a few years. The Confessions of a Homeschooler, she still has a website. She used to be more on YouTube with homeschool, but now she does more like sewing type stuff. But she has a curriculum. I think she has a world and a USA curriculum for geography. But she does give options for like books or activities if you wanted to incorporate history. And I feel like Not Grass that we're doing right now even does that in ways as well. You know, when you're learning about geography in a state, you're automatically learning a little bit about history. It just comes with the territory. But it incorporates readers, Not Grass does, that cover some things that were going on in history. And so we've learned some about like the Trail of Tears as we studied about that area of the United States. So there's some different readers you could even incorporate that might help, you know, add a historical fiction or, you know, a historical nonfiction aspect to your homeschooling. That could be fun, depending how you decide to do it. My next suggestion would be to do like oral reports or something, some sort of accounting of what you've learned. And again, there's this fine balance between like what's actually fun or making geography more fun and what's making it just more work. But I feel like this allows kids to be more interactive in what you're doing. So we are doing oral reports for the first time for anything, but we're doing it for geography this quarter. And so my kids, every time I bring out geography, they're like, oh, this is my state that we're talking about and stuff. And so it's been, they paid a little bit more attention. I'm not saying they're like on the ball or anything like that, but it's been more interesting to them. You could also find some fun books. I feel like this is a really cool book. The 50 States, it's pretty too. Like it's just a beautiful book. that they could go through and find facts about that state. They can also make some type of food. You know, they can make a whole presentation, and depending on the child, they might like this more or less, but they can also cater it to what they do like. You know, if you have a kid that just loves to cook, find something from that place that they can cook. If they love to do art or something, they could draw pictures of what that state has. Okay, if they like to build something, maybe they could do something out of Legos. You know, so you can cater it to what they like. Even if maybe the topic isn't their favorite, it's still revolving around something that they're interested in. And so doing something like an oral report, some sort of accountability to help them recall what they're learning and practice public speaking, but also catering it to what they like and what they enjoy. My last suggestion would be to visit the places or go to museums, which I already kind of touched on this. Depending how you're homeschooling, your like just life situation, all the things, you might be able to travel more and see some of these places personally. You know, we're not really in a position to do that currently. But if you are personally just studying your state, you could take a lot of time on your state and maybe you could go visit places there. That might be more feasible than traveling across the whole United States or to other countries or whatever. But you also could go visit museums. You know, maybe you have some sort of history museum in your state, something that's teaching about it, or like national parks, monuments, you know, things like that that might be a little bit, you know, sometimes they can be a little bit boring, but it's also a field trip. It's something different. You can have a lunch and maybe something about it the kids will find interesting. You could always have them talk about it afterwards or share another kind of oral report with you about it. And it could just be a good opportunity. They could collect something there. Maybe if you're outside, they could collect some things to make a picture. They could paint a picture, you know, if you took some pictures or something of where you were. So there's a lot of ways to try to make it more interactive and fun. But if you have access to do those types of things, I feel like that could make geography very, very cool. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a fun time preparing it. I am in no way really good at any of these things. You know, there's a lot of them I'm like, yeah, I can tell you that these would make it more fun, but we're not actually doing them most of the time. You know, sometimes it's hard just to try to survive day to day, and geography is not one of our core curriculum things. And so sometimes it gets brushed to the side just because it isn't as necessary as everything else. But I still think all these ideas are great. I think they would be so fun to incorporate. And if I was extremely ambitious, maybe I would incorporate them all. But maybe eventually, you know, over time, we'll get through a few of them. And we do like doing the games. My kids really enjoy that. So I hope you enjoyed all of these ideas and maybe they were helpful or gave you some ideas of your own. And remember to check out that playlist that'll be linked down below to get more inspiring ideas. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.